Hi guys, I just listened to Boris Johnson's speech in Parliament, and basically he's increasing lockdown measures for certain areas and certain parts of society regarding leisure, workplaces, and social gatherings. But he ends his speech by saying that we're not going to try and go into a full lockdown, and that we're going to stay defiant to that, and we're going to still be getting the schools, the colleges, the universities together, pushing for education. And then he makes a statement and he says also places of worship are still open, as it's an important part of our society. He's put that into the same level of education and encouragement and support to people, which was great to hear him say. The thing is, the church don't believe it. People aren't taking on board what's being said, and people aren't listening to actually what the government are saying regarding the church being able to gather together. The church can gather. The church can come together. The church can come to be able to reach people, to be available for people, to be able to support one another, to be the family, to help people with their spiritual and mental states. The church can be together. Boris Johnson, even though he's throwing out a number of restrictions in many areas to try and protect this government from, this country from this virus, has not put restrictions on the church opening its doors. And it's frustrated me because the church has. The church has put restrictions on opening its doors. I'm hearing pretty awful stories of churches in fear of opening, fear of breaking legislation, fear of whatever it might be, rather than just opening their doors. Open the doors. Why are we not opening doors? I'm hearing story after story after story of stories of fear. The word of God tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of peace, love, and of a sound mind. It's been 12 weeks since the government have said that the church can open its doors. I'm hearing stories now of churches just opening their doors, and even within that, it's restricted to a level of ridiculousness that even the government hasn't put on them. And it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people feel like have more fear. The church is stirring up more fear than the government are. The church is putting more fear in people than the government or this virus is. The church is not awake, and the church is not available, and the church is not open. And with the church not being open, how does it change a world that desperately needs God? In a time where hopelessness, people are hungry, people are struggling financially, people are having a lot of times where things are not the way that they were, and they're losing their hope, and they're losing the stability that they had previous to the virus coming to the UK. And yet the church is nowhere to be seen. And I believe we, the church, have the answers that they need, or the answer that they need. Him. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. He is the only way. He is the only solution. He is the only way to restore people's peace, to remove fear, to instill love, to give people hope where they haven't got hope, to give them encouragement where they have no encouragement, to feel loved where they have no love, and to feel supported where they've lost that support. And I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of hearing story after story after story of churches in fear, not opening their doors. It makes me angry. I can't believe that there's a bunch of people out there that carry around their Bibles, or they carry around going to church week to week as if it's some kind of medal of honor, some kind of pat on the back, And yet now it's come to the time to be able to live what it says in that book. Everyone is staying in their houses, or the churches aren't opening their doors. Or even this week, I saw that there was a church that opened their doors so that the people that went in there could watch an online service. Do you know the government has said that you can lead worship, that you can preach a message? How about we grow some pastors, leaders, structures out there today? How about you go and start reading what the Word of God says? Realize how big God is compared to who we are and anything that we can face. And we start being the hope to this world that we should be, the light in the darkness that it needs. Do you know in the 10, 11 weeks that we've been open as a church, that we've seen incredible things happen that would not have happened if the doors were not open? Do you know we've seen people that could have gone down the route of following a completely dodgy belief that could have got them in so much mess, but because there was the option to hear the truth of who the gospel of Jesus Christ, they chose him. The only way, one way. Do you know there's been people that are lonely on their own, moving into the area, they have no one. They're looking for a community to be part of. They're looking for the church, and the churches aren't open. And we've been seeing so many people joining us and coming to us, not because we're better, not because we're not doing anything more special than anyone else, not because we got a grand worship team or a great preacher, but literally because we opened our doors. There are people out there that need the doors of the church to be open, and they need the people that are in it to be able to share the message that they have, that has rescued them and saved them. And they're stuck in their living rooms, in their pajamas, with a cup of coffee, happy to do the opposite of what the word says, which is do not forsake the gathering together. And we, the church in the UK, are. This is a challenge to church leaders out there in the UK. Open the doors of your churches now. Stop putting fear in your congregations. Stop causing people to feel that they should be fearing something grander than they should be fearing God. Bring them love, encouragement, support, lift them up. Create a place which is not one of fear, not one of the spirit of fear that God says, I have not given you. Stop creating that which God has not created, and allow peace, love, and a sound mind to rule in the church today in the UK. And I encourage those out there, those that believe in God, where you're starting to get fed up. You're looking at this world, and you're looking at your churches, and you're looking at the doors that are shut, and you're reading the Bible, and you know that it doesn't match up, that people are not living it the way it's written, and you're fed up of it, and you want to take your faith seriously, and you want to start walking with God fully for him, that you may reach souls and change lives, then I encourage you, we invite you, come to church. We'll be open this week. The baptism pool is filled. We're ready to worship, we're ready to gather, and we're ready to get on it, because we believe in the gathering, and the government hasn't stopped it. So why is the church shut? I've had enough. I'm fed up with it. It angers me that in a world that needs to see the church rise up and bring hope, love, support, encouragement, and most of all, not instill fear, it's done the very opposite. And there are people that are fearful today because ministers, leaders, deacons, elders, bishops, whatever it is, have decided that fear or failure is bigger than the fear of God. And people have not stood as they should. And we're seeing testimony after testimony, week to week, of God's incredible power and blessing over our church, over our lives, because we showed up and because our doors are open. Open your doors, or if you haven't got a church that is opening its doors and you're fed up, then we invite you to come to us. God bless.